kids. Today we have a very special guest, Officer Dan.
Hi, kid.
We're going to learn everything you kids need to know about the police.
Yeah!
Number 3, police officers have no legal obligation to protect you from imminent harm. Or, if you're too smart, you cannot be a police officer.
Score too high on an entrance exam, and some places won't let you into the police academy.
Welcome, everyone. I am Leroy Truth with Leroy Truth Investigations. And recording our public officials in the course of their duty shall keep us free. Now, today is breaking news, but not breaking news. Cops ain't that smart. Now, I know that's nothing new to you, but I'm doing a blast in the past from something that occurred in the year 2000 of a gentleman that wanted to become a cop, but they said he couldn't because, well, let's take a look here. Court okays barring high IQs for cops. Again, not a surprise. This is going back 23 years, but it's relevant to this day. Very, very relevant. Now, a man whose bid, oh, by the way, this is in New London, Connecticut, September 8th, 2000. A man whose bid to become a police officer was rejected after he scored too high on an intelligence test, has lost an appeal, and his federal lawsuit against the city. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New York upheld a lower court's decision that the city did not discriminate against Robert Jordan because the same standards were applied to everyone who took the test. This is mind-blowing. This kind of puts an official face on discrimination in America against people of a certain class, Jordan said today from his waterfront home. That class would be, I don't know if you call it a class, but it's smart people. I maintain you have no more control over your basic intelligence than your eye color or your gender or anything else. He said he does not plan to take any further legal action. Now, Jordan, a 49-year-old college graduate, took the exam in 1996 and scored 33 points, the equivalent of an IQ of 125. Big no-no for the police departments. But New London police interviewed only candidates who scored 20 to 27 on the theory, also called a lie, which you'll hear here, on the theory that those who score too high could get bored with police work and leave soon after undergoing costly training, all of 2 minutes of training they get. The fact is, and George Carlin says something about this a number of years ago when it came to public education, creating compliant factory workers, is the reason the government doesn't want to hire cops who are too smart is because if they are smart, they will question the bullshit that they are being told to do, to shred human and civil rights every day, to look for an arrest at all costs, to get compliance or die. Smart people will question the so-called authority and won't follow orders. But, see, the government has this perfectly drawn in here between 20 to 27. You're smart enough to take orders, but not too smart to question those orders. Because the bottom line, as Brian of Here's the Deal channel, and make sure, if you haven't subscribed to him, he's freaking awesome. As Brian from the Here's the Deal channel says, if you are a conformist, you will do whatever you are told, regardless of what is right. If you are a moralist, you will do what is right, regardless of what you are told. And if you're watching this video, I know you are a moralist. Now, it is so easy to manipulate people that aren't as intelligent. And the police agencies and the government agencies know this. And continuing. And by the way, how they frame that, they'll get too bored with the job, because they are afraid to blatantly say what I just said. Not that they'll get bored with the job. They'll question the authority and the bullshit orders are given, and they won't do it. And we would actually have a much better police situation. Now, Jordan alleged his rejection from the police force was discrimination. You think? He sued the city, saying his civil rights were violated because he was denied equal protection under the law. Can you believe he's too smart, so he doesn't get the job? And they rationalize that, saying, well, it applies to everybody. So they will discriminate against anyone who is above average IQ. But the U.S. District Court found that New London had shown a rational basis for the policy. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is classic, the government protecting the government. That's what it's doing. You cannot get a fair assessment, a fair verdict so much of the time with this. I'll repeat, but the U.S. District Court found that New London had shown a rational basis for the policy. In a ruling dated August 23rd, the Second Circuit agreed. The court said the policy might be unwise, but was a rational way to reduce job turnover. So they're using the bullshit lying justification of too smart to be a cop. Jordan has worked as a prison guard since he took the test. Now, share another article here. And this is from the paper there, New Haven, Connecticut. Police applicant eliminated for being too smart files lawsuit in federal court. Now, in late May 1997, 46-year-old Robert Jordan filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court against the city of New London, Connecticut, and et cetera, et cetera. I went over that. And Jordan says assistant city manager Keith Harrigan, who oversees hiring for the city, or at least he did at the time, told him, "We don't like to hire people that have too high an IQ to be cops in this city." Anyone ever freaking ask why? In a subsequent interview with CBS This Morning, which, by the way, I've been looking for that interview all over the internet, and I have not been able to find it. If you find the interview, please send it to me, LeroyTruth247@gmail.com. That's LeroyTruth247@gmail.com. And I will share it here. Jordan recalled his reaction saying, "I was just taken aback. Philosophically, I found it offensive to the entire profession of law enforcement." And ladies and gentlemen, and I'm being very serious about this, nothing against people who are mentally challenged, who may not have as high IQ. They absolutely need compassion and love and support. But we shouldn't be giving them fucking guns. And that's what we're doing when it comes to law enforcement. Give them compassion and support, but don't give them a fucking gun. And then this idea that they have authority because they have a fancy badge. I was looking, I got a fancy badge somewhere here. And that I use as a mockery of the whole idea of badges give you extra rights. I've got it in the car. I'll show it another time. But this is absolutely crazy that we are giving low intelligent people who are capable of following orders at all costs, not questioning them. And that's one of the reasons we have police culture as it is now. The logic the police department employed for their hiring process was clear cut. Any applicant who scored too high on the intelligence test would grow bored with police work, as I shared earlier, and would leave law enforcement. New London estimated it spent $25,000 training each new police recruit. That is nothing. $25,000 in a few months? It takes a cosmetologist a year or two, or a barber to get licensed. Yet someone who is giving the legal authority of the state to get us to comply or die at all costs, up until and including legally supported murder? Oh, $25,000. I don't want to waste $25,000 if someone's going to get bored. Again, they're lying through their freaking ass. Here's more details here about the screening process. The screening process that Jordan underwent was conducted by a company named Law Enforcement Council of Southeastern Connecticut, Inc. And the test he took was a well-known assessment called the Wonderlic Personnel Test and Scholastic Level Exam. The manual that accompanied the test listed recommended scores for various professions and cautioned that because overqualified candidates may soon become bored with unchallenging work and quit. Simply hiring the highest scoring employee can be self-defeating, per Jordan's suit. Jordan scored a 33. Now there's a big difference here, but the average patrol officer scored a 21. And they're the ones we're giving guns to. They're the ones that are harassing and assaulting and murdering us daily. This has got to change immediately, ladies and gentlemen. When Jordan heard that the department was interviewing potential new hires, and he wasn't one of them, he asked about his prospects. The assistant city manager informed him that unfortunately he didn't fit the profile. At first, Jordan assumed it was due to his age at 46. He would have likely been the oldest cadet in the academy. But he filed an administrative complaint with the Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities. And that's when he learned that he was too smart for the cops. His Wonderlic score was the actual issue. Now, is that absolutely insane? I mean, again, it's not new news necessarily to you, but I want to underline that because these are the people that are given authority by the state to so-called enforce laws that most of the time they don't even fucking know. They don't know the laws, but they're allowed to enforce laws that they don't even understand or know. But we are told as a general public, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Or as some smarmy little beta cop would say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. You must know the law, even if you don't know the law. Otherwise, we will hold you accountable to the law, even if you're unaware of it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is bullshit. And this is one of many reasons why I am demanding police reform from our public servants. Remember, as I've said before, they are not our public masters. Now, lastly today, it's a relatively short video. I'm going to show you a video that was put together by Reason TV a number of years ago. And it's very creative and animated. And yeah, I'm going to show it to you here. Can you be too smart to be a police officer? Yes, you can. Let's take a look and listen.
Hey kids, today we have a very special guest, Officer Dan.
Hi, kid.
We're going to learn everything you kids need to know about the police.
Yeah!
Number 1, police officers have cool lights on top of their cars.
Super cool!
You know, you'd be surprised at actually how many police officers get off on that. Because as soon as they put those cherries and berries on, boom, everyone just, immediately, most people, a few take off, but most people will immediately, their heartbeat will increase. They will start sweating in the palms of their hands and other places in their body, depending upon the person. And they will immediately pull over. What power, just from the lights. Because most people who become cops, again, not all, there's a few people. I'm not throwing everyone under the bus, just 99.9% of them. But 1/10% of people who do get into law enforcement do have really good intentions. But for the rest of them, they're these low IQ idiots that love the power.
Number 2, police officers wear neat badges.
Pretty neat!
Number 3, police officers have no legal obligation to protect you from imminent harm.
It's true! I can sit back and watch as someone stabs you repeatedly.
Yeah, that really
On a
happened.
subway train in New York.
The victim himself had to disarm the serial killer who the cops were there to find.
Look it up! It's settled law.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, is that insane or what? Police have no legal obligation to protect us, as has been established and confirmed by the United States courts. We have been programmed from childhood and taught again and again and again, police protect and serve, protect and serve, protect and serve, blah, 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 again and again. Well, to underline this, again, many of you already know this, but I want to underline this to illustrate and underline how fucked up our police system is in this country. It's absolutely insane. So if a cop is not legally obligated to protect you, what are they there for? And you can look that up where the person who was actually being stabbed is the one that stopped the crime, the assault from happening, the attempted murder happening on him, not the cop. So stop looking to cops to protect. And by the way, cops hardly ever prevent crimes. They don't prevent them most of the time. Usually they are following up with them, attempting to solve them. And by the way, I'll do another video on this, but to touch base on this, the police ain't that good at their jobs. There should be, just like in baseball, we should have, like baseball cards, we should have police cards that show each cop and their stats of how many illegal arrests they do, how many cases are dismissed, how many assaults they've been accused of, how many assaults they have been accused of, how many complaints have been issued against them, how many murders they have done, and every single stat that could be included in that. How many lawsuits they have had, how much money was paid out in those lawsuits, what their IQ is. That should all be part of these baseball cards. Because the cops have no legal obligation to protect us. That is so incredibly fucked up. We are demanding police reform. Let's continue.
4. If you're too smart, you cannot be a police officer.
Score too high on an entrance exam, and some places won't let you into the police academy. They think you'll get bored and quit.
Number 5. The more arrests an officer makes, the more court appearances are required, which means more overtime and...
Police love overtime. And the more court appearances, they are incented for so many reasons to fill and exceed quotas. And they're financially profoundly incented to arrest more people. Hey, get to go to court more, hang out with the boys, and shred people's rights. And I'm not saying that cops never are going to court for actual criminals, but there is a profound, huge percentage that they are going to court just because they like to shred rights and like to toss around their authority.
And larger retirement benefits.
Oh yeah, we call that pension spiking. I can retire at 45 with more income than the mayor.
It's a perverse incentive structure.
And I can keep that pension, even if I commit murder. Ha ha!
Number 6. Some police officers get to work with doggies.
The only dogs we don't shoot on sight.
Number 7.
The only dogs that cops don't shoot on sight are their own dogs. You have a little chihuahua that just as much barks at a cop as they come to your door to perhaps attempt to illegally enter without a warrant, and they will shoot that little chihuahua 50, 60 times and make it look like a little Swiss cheese. They get away with it. Oh, I feared for my life. That phrase has to be struck from the cops' language forever. Continuing.
And police officers can violate your rights and get away with it.
That's called qualified immunity.
Number 8.
Which, as I've said before, we have to get rid of qualified immunity. Absolutely. It's part of my 5 demands for police reform, which I'll be working with some senators and other public officials on to demand that we, the people, have police reform in our country to protect our rights.
8. Becoming a police officer takes a lot of training.
It took me 3.5 months to become a police officer.
It took Mr. Barber 2 years and 3 exams to become a licensed hairstylist.
Exactly. Need I say more? It speaks for itself. Yet they're given guns and the authority to get us to comply or die up until even murdering us.
Yeah, well, scissors are sharp.
Number 9. Cops aren't required to know the law even as they arrest people for breaking it.
I can pull you over and search your vehicle without any legal justification, as long as I think I have justification.
And here's the thing. As a number of people have said, if you don't know your rights, you don't have rights. If you don't know your rights, I'll repeat that again. If you don't know your rights, you don't have rights. You have to exercise your constitutional rights by verbally and clearly expressing them. Saying to a cop who is attempting to search your vehicle, I do not give you permission to search my vehicle. I do not give you permission to search my person. You have to express them. If you don't express them, you don't have them. And if you don't know them, you're not even going to know to express them.
Anything I find is admissible in court.
Are you serious? Is that real?
We have very good unions.
Holy shit. Number...
Oh, that's another thing. Get rid of the fucking police unions immediately. And someone even said they may even be illegal as well. And if you have any more information on that, let me know. But get rid of the police unions because they do not represent you and I, ladies and gentlemen. They represent their best interests. And when cops have blatantly murdered people, they are somehow defending them and the apologists for them and somehow victim blaming. No, he got in front of the officer's gun 64 times. It was his fault, even though he was just tying his shoes. But the officer feared for his life.
10. Police officers get paid with our taxes.
Police misconduct is also paid through your taxes.
So, we pay you to protect us.
Yeah?
Which you don't legally have to do.
Yup, that's settled law.
And then, when you accidentally or intentionally violate us,
you pay for all that too.
Is that messed up or what? It's nuts. Because of qualified immunity, they are personally culpable and responsible for nothing. And by the way, the amount of cops who sometimes do get charged with crimes hardly ever actually get found guilty of them. But who pays for them? Who pays for all the defense? Who pays for their free holidays? Their paid leave, free holidays? You and I, the taxpayer. That's fucked up. That's my theme today. That's fucked up. I may get a new Leroy Truth Investigations t-shirt that says, that's fucked up. And stay tuned for merch. I have lots of merch coming. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel today. If you'd like to support the cause, you can add a super thanks. Whatever you like would be greatly appreciated. Continuing.
Wow, that's really dude.
Oh, God! Oh, my neck!
Stay tuned. Not over.
Number 11. The police car has a cool siren. Ha ha!
And that's it there. And so, wanted to underline that with you and understand that when you talk to the police, you need to talk with them like they're a 6-year-old. They don't understand bigger concepts like freedom and constitutional rights and logic. They need you to talk very slowly to them with no emotion, very calmly, like you would do to a young child that is just starting to learn about more complicated things. You cannot reason with someone who is not intelligent. There's no one there. And again, if you're watching this, you are one of the smart ones. So, police reform, we need that. And here are the 5 elements that I am demanding for police reform. Stop qualified immunity right now. They stop internal investigations right now. Body camera footage is not allowed to be muted in any way, video or sound, or it would be a felony. And all body cam footage has got to be released within 24 hours of request. And whoever the head of that police agency is as culpable for whatever crimes his or her underlings do as the people who do them. I am Leroy Truth with Leroy Truth Investigations, because the truth revealed by video recording our public officials during the course of their duty shall keep us free. Please subscribe to my channel. Please ask all of your friends to subscribe. I'm a new channel and growing, and I want to get to 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible, and then, of course, beyond, so I can get our message out to the rest of the world so we can create police reform soon. I'm committed to that for you and for the entire country.